You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Hello and welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast for all ages from to Yahoo! And everything in between. I'm Tiernan, and this week I have to start the show by reading to you this review that has very kindly been posted about this show by Anderson ACH in Canada. I have no idea what the ACH stands for. It could mean automatic cow hairdryer. It could mean ask Colin how. And so maybe I should do that. I don't really know a Colin. Maybe it means akaha. It's very hard to say. But speaking of things that are hard to say, Anderson has written, and this is very lovely of them, that this is a hilarious podcast to listen to, thank you, and that they know where Linda is, as she's the manager of a non-existent podcast and lives in the one place that doesn't exist. Linda, is that true, Linda? Are you managing some non-existent podcast? Because that's very rude, Linda. I thought you helped with this one. Linda? Ugh, why do I bother? Then, and this isn't the important bit, I should say, then Anderson says they've only given this show 4.6 stars, as there's always room for improvement. Well, is there, Anderson? I've checked all the rooms at CC4K HQ, and I cannot find a single one that's an improvement room. We've got the kitchen, bathroom, living room, that cupboard the strange green llama sits in, there's a bedroom filled with hats, there's that weird room where when I open the door it just seems to have outer space behind it and I am too scared to go in, and the attic which has been taken over by unruly weasels. So where's the room for improvement? I think we should have got 5 stars. Oh wait, hang on. Unless the room for improvement doesn't exist, and that's where Linda is. No, this is all very curious. But the bit I wanted to mention was that Anderson says they live in Canada, and Canadians are the first people to not have an accent. They said people from America have accents, people from Britain have accents, and people from all over the world have accents, but not us Canadians. Well, this is very, very curious, because I'm certain that there's a Canadian accent, and in fact that I, as someone who lives here in Comedy Club for Kids HQ, don't actually have an accent. In fact, let me just think about this. How would a Canadian accent go, right? Normally, I don't know if you know this, listeners, but to do an accent, you have to find one word that will help you kind of move your mouth and make your voice in the right way to do it. So, for example, if I said, "One pickle sandwich, please," then that's the words that I normally use to do a ridiculous puffball slime knees accent. Sorry, I mean grown-up. Because that's the sort of thing a grown-up would say, isn't it? "Well, pickle sandwich, please, and make sure you tell me all about mortgages, and that one time you saw a frog that looked like a famous person while you make it. Thank you!" See? It just sounds exactly like a grown-up, doesn't it? And that one phrase helped me speak exactly like a grown-up. Hang on, let me think of another one as an example. Oh, I know. "Yeah, I hate it." And those are the words I use to get into doing the accent for Miserable Steve. He hates everything. Oh, and how about this? "Unfortunately, it's bees again." I don't know if you can guess which accent that is. Yeah, it's the accent of a beekeeper who keeps hoping their job has changed when they weren't looking, so that they don't have to work with bees anymore, because, wow, they hate bees. I mean, instantly, so does Miserable Steve, but he hates everything. So, for Canada, to do the accent I need, well, some people in Canada speak French, don't they? So maybe I need a French word like malheureusement, which means unfortunately. So, for example, malheureusement, ces abeilles encore. Yes, that's right. It's a French beekeeper who's hoping their job has changed, as they really don't like bees. So maybe for Canada I should use that word and try to say, unfortunately, it's moose again, because that's what they farm in Canada, I think. Okay, malheureusement. Oh, that's weird. Nothing came out at all. Okay, let me try the other type of Canadian accent then. Canadians apparently say "eh" a lot, so I can start with that. "Eh, what about the..." No, it's just stopped again. Oh, this is weird. Why is there no Canadian accent? Okay, I'm going to investigate this, listeners, but let me just very quickly give a big shout out. There you go to Lois, who also gave this show a lovely review and said a shout out would help them with the stress of their 11 plus. Now, for listeners around the world who don't do the 11 plus, it's an exam where you have to add everything to the number 11. And you might think that sounds easy, as obviously, 1 plus 11, that's 12, 2 plus 11 is 13, etc., etc. But it gets weird, pretty quick. Like, what's chicken plus 11? Yeah. 11, right? What's Jeff's favourite hat plus 11? Jeff Levin, red cap Levin, right? It's not easy. So, Lois, I hope that you do brilliantly well. And don't worry, your excellent question has been saved for an expert to answer very, very soon. And thank you so much for listening and your lovely review. And the other thing I have to let you all know this week, and this message may be more for your ridiculous puffball slime kneeses, sorry, grown-ups, than for you to hear. But when you listen to this show, you may have noticed that sometimes it gets interrupted by adverts for things that you don't want, don't care about, and are even boring for grown-ups. So I've set up a Radio Nonsense Linda edition, which should be appearing wherever you get your podcast from soon. You should just be able to sort of click on it from Apple Podcasts or Audible or any of those. And it will mean that for a very, very teeny weeny bit of money every month, like way less than your pocket money, you can get this show without any adverts on. And it's really just a way to support this show and mainly me, the silly person that makes it. So, of course, this show will stay free. But if you would like the Linda edition, where adverts appear as often as Linda does, which is, well, never, then please do check it out and give me a hand, really, in making this show. And, of course, if you want to email in with how to do your accent, you've got a question that needs answering, a joke, or anything else at all that you want to tell me, please get your ridiculous puffball slime kneeses, grown-ups, to help you email me at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk, or just write us a very nice review. Check out our live shows at comedyclubforkids.co.uk and our t-shirts and book at comedyclubforkids.store. Please don't email the store, as that doesn't go to me. It goes to Shopperty Clive, who doesn't like emails, and every time he gets one, he goes and shouts at a swan. It's not nice. No one should shout at swans. Don't say boo to geese either. Right, or should I say it like the Canadians? No, I can't. There's still nothing there. It's very weird. Right, well, I'm going to investigate accents, and while I do that, you listen to this most importantest bit. I am very excited that this week on the podcast, my guest is the brilliant Tom Little, aka Tom, who's allergic to pom-poms, aka Duke of the Fried Eggs, Tom Jamin Littlington, the 50th, and as all our Finnish-speaking listeners know you, Han Nataja Silta Ete Han Olisi Koskan Sionte Hernata. But of course, Tom, you are most well known for your very hard work organising and counting every pebble on the planet, for being the only recipient of the Nobel Peas Prize after eating a diet of only different types of peas for a year, and for the astounding achievement of discovering the then never-before-found Florentine diamond down the back of your sofa when you were looking for some popcorn you dropped. Tom, how are you? It's lovely to have you on the show.
Good. It's nice to be here. Thanks. What was the Finnish thing again?
Oh, the Finnish thing again. It's. I mean, I have to. I don't actually know the translation. It's just. Let me find out from. I'll do it on the Google. It's just what I always hear that Finnish people say you're known to them as. Which is. Hang on. I'll check it for you. It's what because it's an international podcast. It's nice to know how you're seen around the world. Have you ever been to Finland, or is this just a?
No, but stuff travels.
Yeah, well, it says so. It's Finnish for he looks like he's never eaten peas, which is obviously incorrect, considering your Nobel Peas Prize.
That's the ironic thing about me, that even though I look like I've never eaten peas, eating peas is the main thing I do.
So, yeah. It's very. I have to say,
things work out that way.
Listeners won't be able to see you. I can see you obviously on our call, and I have to say you don't look like you've eaten peas, and I don't think that's a.
For listeners who don't know what I look like, just imagine someone who doesn't eat peas.
That's
what I look like. Well, ironically, I'm eating peas all the time. So imagine someone who looks like they don't eat peas, who is eating peas.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's quite impressive, isn't it?
I'm eating peas right now.
Well, yeah, I did say, because I mean, we started the call when you were eating peas, and I had to we had to wait, didn't we, till you finished eating peas, and then and obviously it's fine if you want to keep snacking on peas as we talk.
I probably will.
You need to. Is there like an amount where you eat so many peas that it looks like you don't eat peas anymore? Is it like you have to eat so many peas, suddenly it looks like you don't eat peas?
Yeah, yeah. If you eat so many peas, you look like someone who eats loads of peas until you go to full circle, and then suddenly you look like you don't eat peas at all. And I've gone that far. I'm
Wow,
hoping
that's
to eat so
amazing.
many peas that I start to look like I eat peas again, and then eat even more peas that I look like I don't eat peas a second time round.
Is are there are there
Uh,
benefits to
man.
looking like you don't eat peas? So does that let you get away with eating more peas? Because
If you look like you don't eat peas, people offer you peas more. They
that's what
see
I
that
thought.
you look like you need some peas. So
Yeah,
a good way to get more peas is to look like you don't have any.
that must be it. I mean, it must be, and obviously, the Finnish. It was quite lazy of me that I didn't have the translation to hand. I'm sorry, but
No,
you
no, no.
know,
It's fine.
yeah. Well, it's just I just knew that was what they called you. But obviously, when you visited Finland, you must have been at that point in pea eating when they
Mm.
thought, "Wow, this guy definitely not a pea fan."
Yeah, which I encourage that perception because I know
Yes,
it gets me more peas. Obviously,
yes, and I should
the
also
whole reason
clarify. I
I
think
agreed to do the whole reason I agreed to do this podcast because I assumed pod would have something to do with peas, pea pods. Yeah.
Oh,
But
oh wow. Oh well, I'm really sorry. I mean, do you know what? People have made that mistake before. They
yeah,
assume that a podcast means it must be grown within a pea pod, or
I
or
mean,
maybe
I
goes
don't.
out
I'm
to
still
only
happy to
peas.
do it. I'm still happy to do it. Just for future reference, if you could like guests know you won't be providing peas. Just
Right.
I don't want to sound.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, there may be a benefit. Listeners hearing this may sort of understand your cause and may be able to throw peas at you if they see you walking past. May be able
Hmm.
to mush some peas up and push it through your
Yeah,
letterbox.
that would help. That would all be good. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a mushy peas all right, or do they have to be
Oh yeah,
solid?
all kinds of peas.
That's good. That is good. And I should also clarify for listening, you do mean sort of green peas or like
Oh yeah, yeah.
different types of peas, not sort of going for a pea, like
No,
needing
no,
a pea. No.
no, no. You don't want to get those two mixed up.
Yes. Yeah.
Glad we
That would be
clarified that. I'd hate to think people going
well, that was my worry.
hate me.
Especially,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you can't tell the spelling when you say the word peas.
True,
So
true.
yeah, it can be very awkward. I'm so sorry. This isn't a pea based podcast. I feel like maybe podcast should be called something else if they're
Mm.
not pea based.
Well, this is what I always say. That's the thing I always say.
Yeah. Have you thought about starting a pea podcast?
It's all I think about. Yeah,
Right.
I really want to do it, but as soon as I start thinking about my podcast, I start
Yeah.
peas again, and I'm eating peas, and I've completely forgot what I was
That's hard.
to set up the podcast. I've got myself distracted by all the peas. It's
Yeah. That is hard. I also wonder how much I was going to say how much content a pea podcast would have, but it would have the content would be peas
it
because
depends
that's what's
who's
in a
hosting
pea
it, and I
pod.
think if it's me, then there'd be plenty of content. I think I could talk about peas for longer than anyone would want to listen to me talk about peas.
Really? Is
Yeah.
there a lot to know about? Because I don't feel like my
Oh, I don't
worry
know
is
anything about peas.
right. Oh, you don't know anything
No,
about
no, no.
them,
I don't know
right?
any. I don't know very much about them. All I know is, I like eating them. Uh, so me talking about peas wouldn't be discussing the facts or the history around peas. It would just be me being enthusiastic about
Oh, that's
eating these peas.
nice.
Just saying these are really good peas. I like these peas. These
Yeah.
peas, these peas are delicious. I
Right.
like some more peas.
Right.
That just be how it would go.
I mean, I think that's nice, and I think because often people say you have to really like talk about what you know, but I think if you're excited, if you're enthusiastic about it,
Hmm.
I think you can still. Why not talk about it?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Come at it from the perspective of like a keen amateur, keen to learn more. You
yeah,
don't need to be the expert. You can be the everyman.
yeah, exactly. And almost sometimes when you know too much, that's the last thing you want to talk about because it's like, well, I know too much about this. I don't want to,
Mm.
I'd like to learn something new, talk about something new. It's more fun if you haven't got a clue and you talk about it endlessly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like because obviously I'm a stand-up comedian. So
Mm,
when I tell people I'm a stand-up comedian, most people want to talk to me about stand-up comedy. And
yeah,
because I know so much about stand-up comedy, I think about stand-up comedy all the time. That's the last thing I want to talk about. I want
yeah,
to talk about peas. No
yeah,
one
yeah,
ever,
yeah, yeah,
you know, no one
yeah.
ever asked me about peas. That's why I'm so glad you have, Tiernan. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, well, I do try, and it's something I suppose that, you have to think about in the future of whether or not you want to continue doing stand up comedy if you don't want to talk about it, or if you want to, like, I don't know, be some sort of P representative
Hmm.
so that you could just talk about what you really love.
People say you should do comedy about peas, Tom. That's what they say.
And that's a good idea.
You into peas, talk about peas, and you stand up. But I think I don't want to joke about peas.
Yeah.
They're not a joke to me. They're important.
Very, very important. It's very important. And I'm so glad you can highlight this as well for the podcast. And I think, I'm all for world peas, and I think that it's a really important thing that we should be aiming for. And I hope listeners, maybe after listening to you, will get more enthusiastic about their peas too.
I hope so.
I was going to ask you, how you've been. Obviously, you've been mainly eating peas, thinking about peas. Have you been busy otherwise? Are you busy with other endeavours as well as peas?
Not really, no. Just I found I was busy with other stuff, and I've just had to cut everything out of my life.
Right.
It was interfering with the peas. I was, obviously being a stand-up comedian, I had all these gigs booked, and I thought this is cutting into my pea time.
Sure, yeah. Which again, we should say pea time as in
yeah, exactly. Pea time as in the food, the peas.
Yeah.
Eating peas time. So I just have to cancel gigs.
Yeah,
no distractions.
I might be sort of stepping over the line here, and I do apologise if this is not a good question to ask. But there's a mystery around this. Were you the person who was finding there were all the P for parking signs that are all around the country?
Oh.
Are you the culprit who's been writing EA next to that P so it spells P as in green pea? Because someone was doing it, and I don't want to make assumptions.
Well, I can neither confirm nor deny that.
Right.
But I do think whoever is doing that, and I'm not saying it is me, but whoever is doing that is doing great work, and they're a very cool and handsome person.
Right.
Whoever that is.
Right. Okay. That's fair. And I do worry about asking these. Obviously, I don't want to accuse you of anything. And it was interesting how once those signs changed, people stopped leaving cars there. Instead, would put piles of peas, which would then disappear overnight.
It works. The system works.
Yeah. It is. I mean, where do you sort of see this go? Are you ever sort of accompanying it with other food? Is there anything that goes with peas?
No. I don't see any reason to. I think why get in the way of the peas? Why would you? People say, Tom, you've got to eat other things, but I say, do I have to?
Yes. Yeah.
And doctors will say, yes, you do. Your diet is terrible, Tom. You need to eat things other than peas. This isn't. Healthy, But for now, I'm fine.
Yeah. And I should say, I'm guessing that's a doctor says, but not
a
GP. A GP would be on the side of you. I thought. Yeah.
Well, yeah. You'd think,
yeah. Sorry, you said I took over you that you said you ate a carrot once.
Yeah, wasn't as good as a pea.
Right.
It was okay.
Sure. Yeah. Did you find you could temporarily sort of gain extra power? Were you suddenly able to see in the dark more than previous?
Yes. I was able to see in the dark straight away. That was that was. I suppose some people would think that was good. If you wanted to see in the dark, I could see everything. I could see. As soon as I ate that one carrot, I could see. It was like a superpower. Which if that's a kind of superpower you would like, then eat your carrots. But I found it very stressful.
Yeah, but you see, because I wondered, if you were to eat carrots with your peas more often, then you might be able to find more peas during the night time because you'll be able to see them.
That's true, but I know myself. I've got so obsessed with eating peas recently that maybe that would make it. That'd be too much.
Sure.
If I start eating carrots with the purpose of finding more peas, maybe then if I start developing superpowers.
Yeah.
To get more peas, then maybe I would have a problem. Maybe. As I hear myself talking, I start to think maybe this pea eating thing is getting out of control. Maybe I need help.
Well,
but
it depends. If you're enjoying it, if you're enjoying the peas, I think that's fine. I think if every time you eat a pea, you're thinking, "I wish I didn't have to eat this pea," then I think it's a problem. But if you're enjoying every single pea you eat, then who's to stop you? I mean, if the doctor,
you know what, you're right, Tiernan. Yeah. I'm going to eat some carrots and see in the dark and use that night vision to find more peas.
Yeah, I think that's great. And you never know, you may well end up developing an endless carrot eating thing, and then apparently that can make your skin go orange. That's what happens apparently.
And that would be fun.
Carrots. Yeah. People would just assume. I think if you were completely bright orange, people would always just assume you're just having a great time.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to Donald Trump.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
ate all those carrots and, became president.
Yeah, so who knows? Who knows what could be in store for you
Yeah.
if you suddenly ate a whole load of carrots? You could end up in charge of the country.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what other things you might be used as a probably just to sort of at the top of greenhouses to kind of warm your glow would probably help grow other things, including pea shoots. I'd have thought.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
put Donald Trump in a greenhouse, plants would grow.
Yeah, yeah. That's probably quite a good use for him, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, listen, Tom. It's so nice having you on the podcast, and I'm so pleased that you're able to take time out of your pea eating to come onto this show. And obviously, I've got some questions that have been sent in by listeners. I think you are the perfect man to answer them.
Thank you.
But before we get there, I have got a couple of admin questions. I hope that's okay.
That's fine, yes.
Fantastic, great. Well, the first one is, I'm not sure if you're aware, but this is an audio podcast, which means most of our listeners listen to it with their ears, but they might listen with their bums, their elbows. We don't really discriminate, however they want to tune in. And so I just wondered if you had a favourite noise that you could make for us.
Favourite noise, and I'm aware this is probably a bit of a mainstream answer. It's not most news. I imagine you probably had this answer before.
Okay.
But I just like an armpit noise.
An armpit noise?
Yeah.
As in, like the noise your armpit makes on a day-to-day basis, or just
the noise my armpit makes on a day-to-day basis. Yes, I don't know if everyone's the noise you have to. It doesn't just happen. You have to deliberately make the armpit noise.
Right. Sure.
And I do. As I say, it's my favourite noise. So several times a day for my whole life, I will make the armpit noise.
Are you particularly good at the armpit noise?
I like to think so. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll demonstrate.
I was going to say, if you could demonstrate, it'd be fantastic. Yeah,
I'm sure. You can't see me doing this on the audio, but you know how to do the armpit noise.
Wow, that was good. That was very loud. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I should say to listeners, that was definitely from Tom's armpit, not his bum. I should just say.
No, definitely from the armpit.
Definitely from the armpit. Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to clarify, because it's kind of a bum noise, but it's from your armpit. So when you said an armpit noise, I didn't know if there was like a different noise that the armpits make without imitating, because it's basically an armpit doing an impression of a bum.
Yes. But I think that means it's more fun that way.
Yeah,
because with it, it's harmless.
Yeah.
A bum noise is risky.
Yes.
But,
yes. Absolutely. Yeah.
You got to be careful there. Whereas an armpit noise, it's just good, clean fun.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's totally, and there's no smell attached.
Exactly. No smell. Nothing like that. It's
just fun. Yeah. It's weird that it's the only thing that armpits can impersonate, though, isn't it? Like, armpits can only really do bum impersonation. They can't sort of like impersonate a duck or a celebrity
or Michael Caine.
Or Michael Caine. That's it.
Yeah.
If you could make your armpit sound like Michael Caine, I think that would be an incredible skill. I'm not saying.
I think I could only make my armpit sound like Michael Caine making his armpit noise. That'd be the thing. But if I could press my armpit and it said, "You're only supposed to blow the doors off," that would be an amazing feat.
That would be incredible. Yes, that would be incredible. But it's
If you can do that, please write into this podcast. Anyone listening at home.
Oh, please do. I mean, I wonder if maybe Michael Caine's armpit makes a very specific Michael Caine armpit noise. Maybe it's sort of, or maybe it's got a sort of, I don't know, a sort of
a recognisable Michael Caine accent.
Yes, possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
It'd
be interesting to know if you're particularly good at armpit noises that sound very much like a man who eats peas but doesn't look like it, and maybe Michael Caine has got a specific armpit. I mean, we won't know unless we get him to come on this show and do it for us. But
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Absolutely. Well, no, thank you, Tom. It's not. I don't think you said it was mainstream, but I think actually, there's a real skill in doing it well. And
thank you very much.
I think that's important. Yeah. So thank you for your armpit noise. And the other question, of course, I have to ask you is that this show is suitable for people of all ages, any age you can imagine. I don't know if you're able to imagine an age, Tom.
26.
Yeah, absolutely suitable for 26-year-olds. Suitable for any age you can imagine. Not 100. Long story. Not allowed for 100. Every other age, 101, fine, but not 100.
No.
But so I just wondered if there are any rude words that you won't be saying during this show.
Well, I mean, cauliflower.
Oof.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's appropriate in this podcast or any context.
No,
whatsoever.
not at all, not at all. And I mean, is there a personal thing there? Because I mean, you said it and I winced. I'll be honest, but also you said that with some real. I could sense there was something there. You're very angry about it.
Well, I mean, I think we all know the context there. You know, we all. It's just a horrible word, and increasingly, I've heard people saying cauliflower to shock. And I just don't think it's right. I think, people don't want to hear the word cauliflower.
No.
Stop saying cauliflower all the time.
I agree.
Isn't a word you'd say. Don't say cauliflower.
No, it's awful. And I should also say, please don't say cauliflower ear. Please don't say bunch of cauliflowers.
No excuse.
Yeah, it is. It is a terrible, terrible word. And and thank you for not saying cauliflower. I also wouldn't dare say cauliflower on a show like this.
I won't even say collie dog.
Wow.
I don't think it's right.
No. What about collared shirt?
Nope.
No. Colander?
I'll say colander. Colander's fine, yeah.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's okay. Stan Collyman?
Stan Collyman?
Yeah. Coleman's mustard? I'm just checking.
Yeah, I'll say Coleman's mustard. Won't eat Coleman's mustard.
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I mean, it doesn't just mess.
Doesn't go with peas.
Yeah,
it overpowers the peas.
Yeah. Right. I should go. I realize it's Stan Collie more, but Stan Collyman sounds like a superhero to me, so that's why I thought maybe even less allowed than Stan Collie.
I thought you'd said Stan Collymore wrong, but then thought maybe there is someone also called Stan Collyman.
I did say Stan Collymore wrong, but then I thought maybe I should pretend I hadn't.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what happened, because I think the idea of Collymore means even more cauliflowers, which is therefore so upsetting that I couldn't bring myself to say it correctly.
Yeah, I think that's what happened there.
Yeah, I think so. Well, listen. Thank you for not saying any of those, especially not cauliflower.
No, exactly.
It's an awful word. And as I said, I definitely wouldn't.
So don't say cauliflower.
This show. Yeah, thank you. Right, Tom. Listen, I've actually got two questions for you here. I hope that's okay. We've had these two write in who said, "We are brothers and we love your podcast," which I didn't know you did a podcast, Tom, but maybe they mean your P one. And they said, so this is we have two questions, and the first question is from Etienne, who is 5 years old, and
hello, Etienne.
Yeah, and I'll give you these one at a time, actually. So we'll do Etienne's one first. And the second one is from Remy, who's 8. And but Etienne's question is, this is a very good question, actually, and I've never really thought about this before. But Etienne said, why do houses look like drills?
Well, that is a very good question, Etienne. Why do houses look like? It's not a question I've been asked before. It's not a question I've thought about. And part of the reason I've never thought about why houses look so much like drills is that my house doesn't look like a drill.
Oh.
Very much. Right. And most of the houses I've seen don't really look like drills.
Right.
To be honest, to me. But if Etienne's is that his house looks like a drill, that would suggest to me that Etienne's house is a drill.
Right.
So my guess is Etienne lives in a drill.
Right. Yeah.
That would be my simplest explanation.
I mean, because I can sort of the thing in my head, I suppose, like the tops of houses are pointed like a drill, but then you don't have the bit like you don't have the bit where you hold the drill and you press the trigger like that. That bit isn't attached to, unless that's like if you have a garage or something, and then I'm trying to work out where the drill bit would go.
I don't know. I've not seen a house. A drill spins around, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And my house doesn't spin around, but I imagine Etienne's house probably does. Etienne probably lives in a house that spins around all the time, like a fairground ride. So I imagine Etienne's probably in his house, just spinning around constantly,
wondering why is this happening. Yeah, and why do all houses do this? And of course, it's not all houses. It's just
Etienne's
lives in a drill. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, I'm guessing it's probably quite a big.
Sounds a good house, though, Etienne. I've got to say, we're all jealous.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
love to live in a drill.
absolutely jealous. Yeah, absolutely jealous. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Be great to live in a drill, but then you worry like there's things I'd worry about if I lived in a drill. Firstly, it's obviously quite a big drill. What are you using it for? Like, is that's going to make quite a big hole in a wall, or is it for a very 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 big cupboard?
Possibly. I mean, what if Etienne's house is a drill that
Hmm.
people could use Etienne's house to drill a hole in the wall of a different house? That
Yeah. Wow.
That'd be confusing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
because somebody would be living in that house, and then they'd hear the drilling noise, and then Etienne would pop through the wall,
Hmm?
and that would really like freak them out.
That would freak me out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the
Another
other.
thing I'm
Oh,
thinking is if Etienne's house is a drill and Etienne lives in a drill, that suggests Etienne himself is tiny.
right. So you don't think that he lives in a normal sized house and it's a big drill? You think Etienne is very very small
I think
and
Etienne's
lives in a
very,
normal
very
sized drill?
tiny. Yeah, I think he's
Right.
like I mean, correct us if we're wrong, Etienne, but I'm guessing that you're very, very tiny.
Wow.
About the size of a tiny thing.
Yeah. 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 Something really small.
Yeah.
Yeah. A pea.
Yeah, about that. Maybe
Yeah.
a bit bigger. Maybe 2 peas, 2 or 3 peas stood on top of each other.
Sure. Sure.
If
Yeah.
you've ever tried to stand 3 peas on top of each other, which
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have, it's impossible.
Right. Right.
Because,
Right.
but if you do, you get something about the size of Etienne. Probably.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And he lives inside. I mean, because also I'm worried here that Etienne isn't living in his own drill, but he's living in Phillips.
Hmm.
And then what's going to happen when Phillips comes back?
Well, Phillips would probably say, "What are you doing living in my head drill, Etienne?"
Yeah.
And Etienne's just going to have to stick up for himself. Yeah, it's my drill now, Phillips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true, isn't it? I mean, it sounds very complicated. I don't know how he got to live in a drill. You know, we've all been to DIY stores, all of us. I think all the listeners, probably all the kids that listen,
Oh, yeah.
go to DIY stores all the time.
Kids love
every
DIY.
weekend. They love it. They absolutely love it. And so, you know, maybe
My nephew, he's 4, and he's always redecorating.
Yeah,
He's
of
always
course.
like knocking down walls and building conservatories. And I have to say, Henry, be careful. That's a load-bearing wall. But you know what kids are like.
Yeah,
Always
yeah,
knocking
yeah.
down walls.
Yeah, well, this is the age you got to sort of like learn how to do it, and then of course by the time you're a grown up, you can do it properly.
Yeah.
It's all practice. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, I mean, you've got me slightly worried for Etienne's. I
He'll be
suppose
fine.
safety, but he'll be
fine.
fine. You think living in a drill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids love living in drills.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it's
When you're grown-ups like we are,
yeah,
you don't think, oh, I don't want to live in a drill. It'd be too noisy. You know. But when you're a kid, that kind of thing is exciting. It's like camping in your garden, isn't it? You know, you want to do it when you're a kid. As an adult, you're a bit less keen. You know.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure Etienne's having a great time.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think for me as well, I wouldn't want to spin round constantly. I think I'd feel quite sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you after eating all those peas, you wouldn't want to do that.
No.
It'd be disgusting. Wow.
Not now. In my younger days.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Wow. Well, that was not the answer I was expecting, but I think actually it's fantastic. I think you're absolutely right on the board, Etienne. You know, if you haven't realised you're living in a drill and you do want to find a way out of there, do get in touch and we'll see what we can do. Well, Etienne's brother, who I'm not sure may also live in a drill. I'm not sure. This is Remy, who's 8 years old. Remy has asked, and also a very good question, not at all drill related, has asked, why are colours called colours?
If Remy's Etienne's older brother, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
So Remy's probably the size of like 4 peas.
Yeah, I'd have thought so.
Yeah, that helps me imagine that. Okay, so what was the question? Sorry.
Why are colours called colours?
Why are colours called colours? And again, that's a great question. It's one philosophers have asked for thousands of years. And I think the conclusion most of them come to is the colours are called colours because if they weren't called colours, it would be confusing.
Yeah.
If instead of saying the word colours, we said the word fishes,
Hmm.
that would lead to all kinds of confusion. Because if you say, what colour is your jumper, but you wouldn't say that. Instead, you'd say, what fishes is your jumper, and no one would know what that meant.
That would be really confusing. And also, if you're
Mm.
looking at some fish and you want to say what colour is that fish, but you have to say what fish is that fish,
Yeah,
then someone will say it's a salmon. You'll say no, that's not. Well, I suppose that would
that
also be the colour, but
that
that's
would.
confusing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So salmon are salmon coloured on the inside, but not on the outside.
Oh, that's true, isn't it? Yeah,
That's the
which is
confusing
really.
thing.
How did
Mm.
they know that when they named themselves?
Yeah.
It's very clever. Yeah, it's very clever. Yeah, I mean, I suppose you'd also get. We were talking about DIY stores before, but when you pick a paint for your home and you're like, oh, I want to paint it fish, and then
Mm.
you end up getting confused and you end up having to carry a whole load of fish home and sticking them to your
Yeah.
walls.
And that's not clean.
No, no, it's
Smells bad.
disgusting. Yeah,
It doesn't last. If you try and paint your walls with fish, it's only going to stay up for a few days.
yeah,
It won't last like paint will. When I tried to paint my walls with fish,
mm.
the man at the DIY store said, "Don't do this. Use paint."
Right,
And
yeah,
I said, "Look, it's my house.
yeah.
I'll do
Good,
what I want." Right?
good for you.
I,
Yeah, good for you.
I, I, I've asked for some fish. I haven't asked for advice. You know,
Right,
let me
yeah,
learn from my own mistakes. But I did learn from my own mistakes, and I have to say he was absolutely right, and I should have listened.
right,
And
yeah, 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 yeah.
if anyone now is trying to paint their walls with fish, then you are as big a fool as me,
Right,
or even
right.
bigger fool, because
And how many
you've.
peas big a fool is that?
Oh, how many peas tall am I? Um, 1,000. I don't know. I don't know.
Wow,
It's
that's a lot. So
I
that's a
I
that's a
can't I
big
can't do the
fool. Then
maths
yeah,
in my
yeah.
head. If a pea is, I reckon what say an inch is what 10 peas. Is
Yeah,
that no? Is
maybe.
that too much?
Yeah.
Say
I
eight
don't know.
peas
Yeah. Yeah.
and a foot. So a foot is 12 inches. So 12 times 8 is 60. And I'm 5 foot 10 inches tall. So 5 times 60 is 300. Add uh, oh no, I've lost myself. I'm
It was
confused.
good. What listeners
I
didn't
got
see as well
halfway
is
there. I got halfway there.
but it was good.
Um,
Listeners didn't see you counting each P to do all those maths, which was very
no,
impressive and obviously hard to do in the middle of a not P podcast.
mm,
So yeah, I do get it. I think there's also we sort of I'm glad you learned from your mistake, Tom, but I think it is important that you tried putting the fish on your house first.
yeah,
But there's, at least that only affected you. I do worry that the things that we need colours for are like traffic lights. But if every light was just a fish, that would make
mm,
no one would have a clue when to stop or when to go.
no. But it would be well, I mean, maybe it would be like the Little Mermaid. I
Hmm.
like that's why I don't remember a scene in the Little Mermaid, but I think in Little Mermaid they have like fish for practical uses, and maybe if there was going to be an underwater car system, then they might have a system where it's different fishes
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
traffic lights. That's the kind of whimsical thing they put in a
Yeah.
in a in a in a film about the Little Mermaid. But that's not practical for the surface.
No. No. No.
You
No.
know,
And you'd have to really know your fish to
mm,
know. Like you get to the lights and go, oh, it's a an angel fish. That means stop. And it'd be quite. I don't know.
that's the thing.
You know.
Two fish experts like us,
Hmm.
we'd be all right.
Yeah.
We know our fish.
Yeah.
We if you put a haddock in front of us, we know it's not a mackerel. We know it's a haddock. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
not everyone. Not everyone. They don't think heaps about haddock as much as
No.
they used to. I don't know if that's a
They don't.
political
It's not in the
correctness
school
thing or
system.
what, but
Yeah.
no.
No, they don't
So
sit kids down anymore and just make them list fish like they used
yeah,
to. Yeah. Yeah.
kids used to know all the fish, and now
All the fish. Mm.
now 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 it's now we used to get taught about fish the way kids today get taught all the colours.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And I don't know if you had this at your school, Tom, but we used to learn so much that kids in the playground would trade fish. We'd all bring in different fish. We'd be like, "Oh, you've got 2 swordfish. Well, I'll swap you for a puff of fish." And
Yeah, yeah.
it'd
You
be,
go down to the fishmongers and you buy a big bucket of fish,
hmm.
and then you'd be like, "Oh, it's a plate."
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
oh, I've got a plate. I've got a skate.
yeah,
Oh, it's a trout. I've already got trout.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
then you go around to your friend and say, "Do you want this trout?" And he says, "Yeah, I'll have this trout." And he says, "Well, when I swap you for a eel," and he says, "No,
yeah,
I, eels are worth more than trout." You know,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
yeah,
It's a big part of our
that's the kind of
lives.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have 30 minnows or whatever, and
yeah, yeah.
I've already got those ones. Do you want a shiny goldfish? I've got, it was a big part of our lives, and I don't think kids experience that in the same way. You're right. They now talk about colours, and they all have
Hmm.
favourite colours. They don't have favourite fish anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a shame.
It is a shame. It is a shame, but I think you're right in that. Remy's asking why aren't colours called colours, and I think you're right in that if they hadn't changed, if colours didn't have the name colours, then kids would still be learning about fish. But then I feel like we'd be at a standstill. Time has to move on, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe I mean, in the past, colours probably weren't called colours. They'll probably call something else. You know, like cavemen probably didn't call colours colours.
right.
Cavemen probably just called colours a sort of grunting noise. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
like that sort of thing. Which so colours used to be called but so did a lot of other things.
sure.
Cavemen would also say to mean dogs or dentistry
Hmm.
or bananas. So that was very confusing when every word was. So eventually we had to come up with different noises to make with our mouths, and that became language.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and one
yeah.
of those words that we came up with was colours.
It's a good
And
colour. It's a good word. Yeah.
a perfectly good word for what it is. And I know Remy might say we should call colour something different, but I say it's a good suggestion, Remy. But the word colours has done well so far,
Hmm.
and if
Hmm.
it's not broke, don't fix it.
I agree. I like the word colours. I think it's got. I like the way that it's got the cool at the beginning bit and then the lures at the end, and I think
Mm.
it's nice. It sounds nice to say. I'm a big fan. I was going to ask Tommy just as a nice sort of note to finish on. Really, have you got a favourite colour? Is there a
Green,
green? Right, of course. Yeah. Any
because of the
particular
peas.
shade or
That's
pea green? I'm guessing then.
Yeah, yeah, pea green. That's why I like peas mainly.
Right.
Just I like the colour green. Um, I always like the colour green. I just think it's the best colour. I think a lot of green in nature.
Hmm.
A lot. Trees are green. Uh, Shrubbery is green.
Hmm.
Peas are green, as I've said. Broccoli's green. Sprouts are green. Things are green.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things are red or blue too, but more things are green. If you go to the jungle, you'll see more green than anything
Hmm.
else. So that's why I think green is the best colour. It's the most uh, common in nature. So,
I like it. My confusion with greens, people always say eat your greens, but then when things are
mm,
gone off, they also go green. So then I don't know if you have to eat
oh yeah,
like
that's
fresh food that's green is great, but then when it goes off, it's also green. So then do you have to eat the
mm.
gone off stuff as well?
When bananas are green, you're supposed to wait until they're yellow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So
confusing. Yeah,
yeah,
it's very
that's
yeah.
eat your greens is a confusing expression. I'm sure there are things that are green that you shouldn't eat as well.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
Like if you've
pretty
got
sure.
like green socks, you shouldn't eat
Yeah,
them.
don't no,
You know,
don't eat green socks. That would be snakes. Probably don't eat
no,
snakes.
no, don't eat snakes. No,
No, there's some. Yeah, Kermit the Frog. I don't eat
don't
him.
eat Kermit. No, that'd be awful.
No, it'd be awful. Yeah,
It might taste good, but you'd feel terrible afterwards.
you'd feel awful. Yeah, and a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people would be very angry, very
Mm,
very angry. Disney would really sue us.
it'd be furious.
Um, well, listen, Tom. Thank you, two fantastic guys. And I hope Remy and Etienne are very happy with their answers. I mean, obviously Etienne has
Very,
to now
very
deal
good
with
questions,
living in a drill,
Remy.
which is a whole different thing for him. But thank you so much. I'm so pleased you were able to come on the show in between all the pea eating. Have you got much going on for the rest of the day, week, year, decade, century? Is it all just more peas?
More peas mainly. I'm going to try and think what I can do with all this fish that I've got.
Yeah, sure.
Because obviously, painting it was a silly idea. I don't know. I can't even remember what made me want to do that in the first place. But I've still got all this fish, so I'm going to try and find something else to do with it. The only thing I can think to do with it is use it as bait, catch more fish. But then that's really solving a problem by creating another problem.
Yes.
Because then I'll just end up with even more fish, and it'll be bigger fish as well. And then I'll use the bigger fish to catch even bigger fish, and work my way up to I'm catching like dolphins and whales.
Yeah.
Then I've got a whale. What am I going to do with that? I think my plan for today is to do that until I have got a whale, and then hopefully inspiration will take hold, and I'll think of something.
I think you'll get the whale, and something will come to you, and you'll, next time we speak to you, you'll be known for being the guy with the whale.
Yeah.
Except Finnish people obviously say you won't look like a guy with a whale, but that's just something you're going to have.
Finnish people will look at me and say, "There's no way that guy's got a whale."
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "Well,
yeah.
Believe it or not, there's actually a whale."
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you, Tom. Thank you so much. Good luck with the whale. That's what I say.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
I am so grateful to Tom Little for taking time out of his pea eating to talk to me, and also for answering Etienne and Remy's very important questions. Etienne, Remy, I do hope you liked your answers, and if not, please write any complaints you have on some peas so that Tom will eat them and I'll never have to see them. If you have a question you need answering, a joke that you want to send over, an accent you want to tell me about, or, well, anything really, then please get your ridiculous puffball slime knees to help you email me at podcast@comedyclubforkids.co.uk. Sign up to the Linda edition of this show if you'd like to support this silly thing and have no adverts on it at all. Check out our live shows at comedyclubforkids.co.uk and grab our t-shirts and books at comedyclubforkids.store. Now, while you were listening to the importantest bit, I found the big book of everything you ever need to know about accents, and also some things you don't want to know, and one thing you won't know even after we've told you. It's a very big book, and I had to get 8 stinky hippos to carry it on their backs in order to get it from the room with the green llama in it all the way to the table. And looking through it, under C for Canadian accent, it says here, "It is a known fact that Canadians do not have an accent. They used to, but they swapped it for a box of Timmy's Timbits and some stickers and have never regretted that decision. Instead, Canadians communicate through nods of the head, hockey moves, and different ways of eating poutine." Wow, well, there you go. Now, I thought I didn't have an accent, but I wonder what it says in here. Let me have a little look through. S for sad beekeeper accent, and yes, T for Tiernan's accent. Ah, how strange. It says here that I do have an accent, and the best way for you to do it is to say, "Oh, do you know what? I think you're going to like this, listeners," and hopefully it'll help any of you to do the perfect impression of me. All you have to do is say, "Bye." You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. It's the end.